Hello, I'm Nathalia J, reporting from Kids First, and today I had the pleasure and honor to sit down with leader Geneva Wasserman, Senior Vice President of Motion Pictures at Conde Nast Entertainment.
Thank you so much. Thank you for meeting with me today. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Well, as a leader in media entertainment, you oversee the development of a company's slate of feature film properties, correct?
That's correct.
Well, how do you can you explain to me how your job goes on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis in a form that an 11-year-old would understand?
Certainly. So I work at Conde Nast. We have many iconic publications such as Vogue, Teen Vogue, which you may know, Wired, The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, the list goes on and on. Bon appetit. And so my role is to identify stories. We are storytellers at heart, and find those stories that will translate into feature films. And then, so I spend a lot of my time reading and working with our editors in New York who know our audiences better than anybody and make decisions about which stories will resonate with those audiences, and then work with Hollywood to bring those stories to a screenwriter who then develops and adapts that story into a screenplay. And then from there, we go through the process of finding the right director and actors and work with studios to distribute and, produce the movie. So it's a long process, but it's a lot of fun and very fulfilling.
Well, based off everything you've told me, your job is definitely a priority, working with those in New York, trying to find the perfect director, actors, Hollywood screenwriters, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fun parts about your job. What's the best key moment of your day?
I would say there are many amazing bright spots in my days. Ultimately, seeing that film that, will have taken months, sometimes years to see come to the screen is really fun and exciting. Also meeting with and talking to journalists and screenwriters is really fun for me. And, we have a great team here. So the teamwork that I have within the office is really a lot of fun.
Related to what you just said about you seeing the film come to life that you put your heart into, you have produced many films such as No Malone and Soul Searching, which came out on Netflix. How can you describe your moments on set? What was your most memorable moments, or the films you were most proud of, and why?
Sure. So I'm proud of all the films. No Malone, it was a lot of fun. That's an animated film, so there was no set per se. But I was in recording sessions with our actors, and we had some amazing talent. George Lopez, who played a gnome, which was really fun. Becky G, who played our lead. Josh Peck. And so being on the other side of the booth, watching them bring those voices to life was a lot of fun. And I really do love that movie. It's a fun family picture. Soul Searching was wonderful. That was shot in Korea, in Seoul, Korea. Which is really fun. And, that film is, I think, really groundbreaking in a lot of ways. We had an entirely Asian cast, but it was still an American Hollywood movie. And it was really, I think, a really funny, fun, touching movie. And I recently completed a film called Doorman with Ruby Rose. It's an action film where, similar in tone to Die Hard. I don't know if you're old enough to see that film. It's a classic franchise, and Ruby Rose plays a very tough, amazing character in that one. I love the female empowerment aspect of that particular movie, but I don't really have a favorite. I love working on films, and I have many favorites, so it would be hours for me to go through that list.
Everything you've just told me, it seems like there is a lot of fun parts about your job. I mean, exploring to Korea. I mean, there's a lot of places you've been. That's really cool, and I'm so glad that I'm able to get shared with those memorable moments, and especially when you put your heart into a film or a show that you've worked hard for. Like you said, you're seeing them just use their voices, playing as those Becky G, Josh Peck. You create a connection with all the people you've worked with, and with nearly 20-year veteran entertainment business advice, what advice would you give to those who want to be successful in the entertainment business overall, or specifically in the department you work in?
That's a great question. I would say there are many paths to a career in entertainment. I took a sort of a path of going into law and studying the business aspects first. And I tend to have more of a business approach to this creative industry. But I would say practical experience is probably the best way into this career. You know, becoming a production assistant so that you can learn about how a set works. You know, definitely there are online programs that and YouTube videos about how to write a screenplay if that's something that interests you. On the producing side, I think it's really just producing, you know, picking up a camera, trying to create, or working on a set, whether that's as an assistant or as a volunteer or, you know, production assistant. That's probably the best way to learn the industry. And, you know, I don't know if I should say this to an 11-year-old, but watching movies. Watching movies is a great way to learn about movie making and what you like and what you don't like and what you think creatively works or doesn't.
Seems like there's a lot of things that go on behind particularly your film, but I feel like it's just such a growth process throughout everything you do. As you're explaining, you have to learn literature or reading and all these movies. It really does help. And, you know, with your creative and business knowledge, when you're looking for a new hire at your company, what are some of the qualities you look into?
It's also a great question. You know, a lot of things. I would say we look for people that are collaborative because this is an industry of, you know, of collaboration, working together. Definitely people that are not afraid to think differently and think outside of the box. Because in a creative industry, that's what we do is be creative. So creative thinking, I would say, you know, in this industry, it's also really important to have a basic understanding, depending on the role, but of what that role is, right? So if it's somebody that is in development, understanding the process and the structure behind putting together a film, from the screenwriting and adaptation process. But ultimately, I think we look for positive, collaborative, you know, hardworking people that you want to spend a lot of time with.
And Conde Nast Entertainment is definitely expanded. I mean, with Vogue, I've seen a lot of videos like 73 Questions with Kim Kardashian, What's in Your Bag. I've seen all those videos, and they're really interesting. You never know what's in the bag, actually. You never really know. And lastly, with your work life, how do you balance your personal life? I mean, with your family, there's a lot.
Yeah, so I have 2 teenagers, and, you know, definitely they're a priority. And so it's about efficiency, you know, trying to plan my day so that I can make sure I can drop my daughter off at school. My son's 17, so he doesn't need a ride anymore. And, you know, be home so I can, you know, work on homework with her. My son doesn't let me do his homework. So, but, you know, it's creating a balance, and, you know, work's really important. And at a company like Conde Nast, where, you know, equally values family. So it's finding that balance and working smart and efficiently. And when you love what you do, you never consider it work, and that's sort of my life. So I love every minute I spend here, and when I'm at home, I'll often work because I love it so much.
Thank you so much for speaking with me, Geneva. I mean, I've learned so much about Conde Nast Entertainment, and thank you so much for speaking with me. It was wonderful. Thank you.